Hi, I'm Alana.
Hi, and I'm Jared.
Welcome to the Nightly News Remote Learning Edition. It's starting to look more like fall out there. This week is our virtual Spirit Week. Remember to send your pictures in to RFA staff's social media pages.
Thursday night, RFA athletes went to the district office to voice their opinions about the possibility of fall sports being canceled. As you know, the board voted in favor of fall sports starting. Way to show some RFA pride. Our newest member to the Nightly News, Chelsea, recently interviewed RFA social worker, Ms. Spado, about a very serious issue dealing with teenage mental health. This will be part one of the very informative two-part interview. Welcome to the team, Chelsea.
Thank you, Jared and Alana. I sat down with Mrs. Spado to talk about different mental health outlets and ways kids that are struggling with depression and suicide are able to, find help and be able to talk to the people in their lives and advocate for themselves. My name is Chelsea. I'm a freshman here at RFA, and I'm interviewing Mrs. Spado. And my first question that I had for you: what are the warning signs that a student is feeling suicidal or depressed, and what actions do you and RFA take as a whole to prevent them from acting out in those actions?
So if you're hanging out with your friends and you notice that your friend's becoming more withdrawn, more isolated, they kind of want to be by themselves, or maybe they're sad, they're not doing their schoolwork. Sometimes teenagers who are really depressed sometimes are irritable or more angry. Some students might even tell you that they're depressed or even that they're feeling suicidal. And we would encourage you to have your friend come down to the guidance office if they're struggling, or to reach out to their school counselor or the school social worker and see if they can come up with some coping skills to manage that. Sometimes people are depressed because there's different things going on in their life. And other times they have, an organic chemistry in their brain that's creating that. So there's different strategies to approach either way. And the school counselors and the school social worker can assist with that.
What should someone do if they're worried that a friend or fellow student is in imminent danger of suicide?
So I would say my biggest advice would be, do not feel that you should keep a secret. Don't worry about revealing their secret. Even if they're mad or upset with you, they would still be alive if you told somebody else. So don't worry about that part of your friendship. Go to your school counselor or your school social worker immediately. Students in the past have, received messages during their school day on their cell phone, on a text message that was really concerning from one of their friends. And they've, pulled the teacher aside and said, hey, I got a concerning message from one of my friends. I'd want to go down to guidance right now to make sure that they check in and that their friend is safe. If you were home, I would suggest that you call their parent right away. If you can't reach anybody in their household and you are certain that they're at risk of suicide, which is different than being depressed. If they're depressed, you have some time to get help, right? But if they are really suicidal or they express some intent, you could always call the local police department, have them go to the house and just do a check on them to see that they're okay.
Yeah, so you'd never recommend to keep that secret even if somebody has asked you to and told you that, that they didn't want anybody else to know.
Correct. Also, one thing I wanted to point out that's, not part of the question, but is important. There's this myth out there that people who are thinking about suicide aren't really going to do it if they say something about it. And what research has found is that is actually not true. There is people who will keep it silent, but there's also people who will reach out for help as a last-ditch effort to help with all those bad feelings that they have inside. So if someone says that they're feeling suicidal, it should be taken seriously.
Yeah, not just swept under the rug or acted as if, they won't actually do it because it could be that last resort, that last thing, that last cry for help that they're, searching for.
Correct.
And following that up, what are some things that a person should not do if they're a person that they know, a friend, a classmate, they think is in imminent danger of suicide?
Again, I would say definitely do not keep that secret. Help them find support. If it's depression, then you can, bring your friend, encourage your friend, maybe even go with your friend to your school guidance office or go with your friend to talk to their mom and dad. But it definitely, if it's suicide, I would reach out to immediate help from an adult. And that would be going right to, a school administrator or your school support staff or their parents if they're home.
All right. And can you talk to me about RFA's anti-bullying policy?
Well, everybody at RFA should be treated respectfully and fairly. We do have a complaint form in our AP offices. So if you feel like you are struggling with being bullied, we would encourage you to fill out that complaint form with your AP so that they can follow up and create some interventions to alleviate that issue. It's important. I don't think students know this, but it's considered harassment if you are sending text messages and threatening students during their school day. So even though that's your personal phone, that could still be considered bullying, and we would follow the school discipline policy for that. So even if students are not just, potentially shoving someone in a hallway or teasing them out loud, even social media bullying is an issue if it's occurring during the school day. And in addition to their APs following up on that, there's also a bully button on the district website. If a parent and a student have tried all they can in the school building to make a change and they still feel like their schooling is impacted by bullying, they can hit that button on the district website and the district office administration will follow up on that as necessary to make a change for that student to feel safe and comfortable in their buildings.
So does our bullying policy transmit, so the policies we've implemented transmit over to social media all the time? Because now with so much social media and so much internet and everything that people are being online, because most of RFA's population is heavily online and on social media, does that transmit over to like the bullying and cyberbullying that's happening on social media? Does that transmit to our bullying policies at school or only sometimes when it's happening at school?
It does. So say we were in person. If we were in person 7:30 to 2, if somebody is receiving threatening or bullying texts or, being harassed by somebody putting vulgar social media posts up about them, if that occurred between the hours of 7:30 and 2, the school administration would be able to provide discipline to the student that did that. If it occurred at 9 o'clock at night, that wouldn't necessarily be the same relevance. And the same thing is if students are getting disciplined if students are being bullied on the school buses or receiving threatening messages on the buses, that's school property as well, those buses. So if that occurs during that time, then it would be considered a school discipline issue as well.
Yeah, so it's like a correlation. You know you're in the range of like school and everything. It's a little bit different when it's outside of that like time and place.
Correct, but we want our students to feel safe here too. So if there was an issue that was happening outside of school that wasn't necessarily a discipline issue, we would still like to follow up our administrators and our school support staff to provide that student with support or even potentially to do some sort of mediation between peers in order to, create level ground.
Yeah, so per se, a student is being bullied or cyberbullied outside of school, they could still come to a school official, to a guidance counselor or social worker. Even if the school couldn't take as much action as if it was at school, they could still come to express their feelings and maybe search for a different alternative way of getting help.
Absolutely.
The rest of the interview will be aired Friday, where we get into more information for kids who are struggling.
Thank you for that, Chelsea. We look forward to the second part of your interview on Friday. Remember, RFA, take charge and show some RFA pride. We're all in
We're
this
all in this together.